And just like usual, we just pop into this sounding like we're looking around in the dark. All right, we're here with the horror podcast. All right, sent out the tweet. Let's see, 0 watching. That's just the way I like it. Yeah. All right, so today we have Alessandro Martinez on with us. He's been in many publications, some including Jitter, Indiana Horror, I believe. That's the correct one?
Yep.
Sanitarium and Dead Man's Tome. He does poetry, and I've even had the honor of editing him in Cthulhu Christmas.
Good issue.
Yeah. So
Glad to be here.
And we're glad to have you. Anything you've been working on recently?
Lots of things. You mentioned poetry. That's kind of I do so. The poetry book Dreams of Decay is kind of like the only poetry I've done so far. Everything else has been short fiction. But I am working on several novels at the moment. Hopefully, someone will want those.
Oh wow, several like full-fledged novels and everything, like the full-length novels.
Right. So one of them's complete. It's actually a fantasy novel, and March, I was in Rhode Island for StokerCon, and I was pitching this novel, and I got an agent.
Oh, wow!
Nice.
I heard that on Twitter. So how did that come about, Alessandro?
Well, I don't know how familiar you are with StokerCon. It was my first one, so I'd never been before.
Yeah, no, I've never been.
Well, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
So you had to sign up for slots to get a pitch session with one of the various publishers, editors, or agents that were there. So I signed up for one. Luckily, I got in. So Saturday of the con, I pitched. But the previous day, I had talked to this agent just randomly in this hotel Starbucks, and she's like, "Oh, after you do your pitch tomorrow, just wait around and I'll listen to it too." And she liked it, and that was the agent. And a week after I came home, she's like, "I want to represent you."
Wow!
Oh, wow, that's really cool. So, what did it involve? The pitch?
So it was like It was about 5 minutes with whoever you had.
Yeah.
Basically, 2-3 sentence summation of what your book was about, which was whoever you hard to write.
Oh yeah.
Like the fantasy book I wrote is almost 110,000 words.
Yeah.
So more than like 430 pages. So 3 sentences about what it's about.
So did you do that while you were at the con? Did you know that you were going to go in for a pitch before you went in? Did you have all this planned? Yeah.
Yeah. So you had I think the sign-ups were about a month beforehand. So yeah, you knew you were going in for the pitch. So I had plenty of time to come up with something. The sentences were long. Try to squeeze in as much as I could, but apparently both pitches went well. They both asked for the full manuscript.
Wow.
So I got the agent, and the one that I got the time for to pitch to is a publisher. So we're just waiting to hear back from them.
Oh man, I think you'll do quite well. I mean, from what I've read of your short stories, and particularly sort of your Lovecraftian sort of influence in your writing and the music of your prose, it's quite unique.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not just bullshitting, man. It's the truth. As you know, I think it was Blackmouth. Is it Blackmouth? The first one that I read on the Deadman's Tome website, and it was one of the I've spoken to Will about this before. It was one of the first stories I read on there where I read it as a new writer and thought, shit, the standard is actually quite high on the website, and I was like, right, okay, this is a really good story. But it was after that, and you had 2 stories published with Deadman, didn't you, originally? It was Blackmouth
Right, the
And
first one, yeah, Blackmouth was the second one he published of mine. The first one, which was my first published story ever, was The Corruption in the Deep.
that was it. Yeah, yeah. And I'd read both of them, and I was like, yeah, this guy knows how to write, and there's something really unique about, like I say, the music in your prose and the way you present sentences and paragraphs. So I contacted Jesse and I said, I'd heard you get interviewed by Jesse, and I was like, do you think it'd be possible to contact this Alessandro Martinez and just see if he'd be interested in doing a bit of a collaboration, maybe, because I think I'd benefit from it, and you might benefit from it. It might be an interesting thing to sort of work, and it was really nice sort of working with you, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. And
it was fun.
What we produced, it was under pseudonyms. It was a bit of fun. It was a pulpy sort of quick horror story that we just sort of put out there, but it laid the foundations a little bit for, the whole idea of collaboration with people, and, not just collaboration with other writers, but the potential collaborating with editors and, changing stories. And I think at first we were both quite polite. We're like, you read my half and I write, I'll read your half. And, we're sort of like a little bit polite. But I think at the end we got there with it. And yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah, definitely.
But then I think after that, Dreams of Decay sort of came along, and I bought that. And I thought the illustrations were fantastic for starters. Who was the artist who did the illustrations, by the way?
It's actually 3 artists. I found them on DeviantArt, since I've been on there for a while, and I'm always looking at fun pictures. So the artists were Asia Yordanova, Holly Hammond, and Jody Shears. Which they're from all over the world.
Yeah.
But I really liked their styles.
Yeah.
Like Asia was the more black and white, kind of more realistic of the bunch.
Yeah.
Jody Shears was more cartoonish, but still creepy. And Holly Hammond did the colored ones. And her lanky, grinning figures, they're just pretty creepy. But yeah, I'm really glad I was able to get them to do the illustrations.
Oh yeah, we have actually it's a couple pictures up on the stream.
Oh, the cover with the. I think it's like the woman with the long hair on the cover. Am I right?
Yeah, Asia did that one.
Yeah, but I sort of picked it up, and you take it for a pinch of salt and just open it up and go, all right, okay. And actually, like I said to you, and no word of a lie, it's one of the best sort of poetry books I've read in sort of recent times.
Thank you.
It genuinely is. I don't read a lot of poetry, but I found it very accessible, very dark, which is, I didn't expect anything less, to be honest. But I read it cover to cover, which is, have you read the book, Will, the Dreams of Decay?
I have not yet had a chance to do that, no.
Give it a blast. It's so, the poems aren't particularly long.
Yeah. But
they're quite accessible, and they're really dark, and there's sort of like this dark vein of, there's a little bit of humour in there. Would that be fair to say, Alessandro, as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like the one with death.
It's just it's fantastic. So anyone out there listening, just give it a go. It's on Kindle, and
it's on print on demand now. So
cool.
So you can get a physical copy.
Excellent. And it's on Amazon, right? Amazon?
Yes, Amazon.
So can I just ask how you got started writing, Alessandro? What made you think, right, I'm going to be a writer? Where did it sort of begin?
I've been writing for a while, on and off, just as a hobby. I started about in high school, which was quite a while now, quite a while ago. Not very serious, just here and there, scribbling in a journal. But I did enjoy it. My favorite classes were English classes, and I loved writing essays for some reason. And I remember for one of my English classes in high school. We had to read Frankenstein, and then I just loved writing the essay about it, and I think I got one of the highest grades. And the teacher loved it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I guess I'm not too bad at this. And then I wrote a piece of the only fan fiction I ever done was for Star Wars.
Excellent.
And I entered a fan fiction contest on this website. I don't even remember the name. It was so long ago, the website. But I won first place.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, there was no prize except bragging rights. But
yeah.
But I was like, yeah, I guess I'm a decent writer. But then, graduated high school, went to college, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I tried, psychology and interpreting. Which I loved, but nothing really psychology stuck with me and interpreting. Wanting to do this as a career for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then I met my wife, or my soon-to-be wife, and I started writing more. And she said, she's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And she said, I make enough for the both of us. Just if you want to, just concentrate on writing. If you want to make that into your career.
Wow,
and so I did.
That's beautiful. That's like a lot of others have done that too, like Dean Koontz. Yeah.
So now I'm writing every day.
That's amazing. So what's your daily routine? Do you have like a preference what you do? Do you have a coffee in the morning and then just get straight onto the laptop, or how do you work it?
I wake up, grab some cereal, sit down at the computer and start writing.
Awesome.
And
how long do you usually go for?
Usually say start around 8:30, probably end around 5.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Then I make dinner for us. Then sometimes I call it a day, or sometimes I just keep going after dinner.
Yeah, I told my wife if that ever like at this moment we couldn't do it, but if that ever happened, all the stuff at the house would definitely be like in top shape, cleaned, and dinner would be waiting and all that other stuff.
Are you a good housekeeper then, Alessandro? Is the house spick and span? Is it tidy?
I try to keep it nice.
Yeah, I would be brushing the floors if I was like, but there was, it's toothbrushing. That doesn't make sense. but there's, it definitely was, it's more comfortable to work from home. It's just a different. I know some people don't like it. Some people would rather go out and to an office and stuff. If you're going out and there's just something about doing your own thing. Like you're making your own time to work, and then you could just do it. You could actually even go further than 5. Because this is going into your benefit. You're like a business owner, pretty much. I heard that you two you proposed to your wife on the set of Game of Thrones.
No, I did not.
Oh, whoops.
You got married in New Zealand, didn't you? Was it the Lord of the Rings?
Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, we actually got married here in California, but we took our honeymoon to New Zealand.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because we had a Lord of the Rings wedding. We dressed up, so I was in like tunic and leather armor, and she was in a elvish dress, and like I had 2 best men. They were both in like full armor.
Brilliant.
But everyone, I think, except for 2 of our guests, we had about 40 people. Everyone else dressed up as Middle Earth folk. So it was up in Sequoia National Park, so it's pretty nice. So since we had a Lord of the Rings themed wedding, we had to go to New Zealand to see Middle Earth for our honeymoon. How
did that go?
It was amazing. I would love to go back.
Yeah, I've heard a lot. I know somebody actually. He might be listening. Who knows? But I know somebody from work who came from New Zealand, and everything he's described, it sounds wonderful.
It is. You know, we saw Mount Doom. We saw Edoras. You know, we saw the Paths of the Dead. We went to Peter Jackson's Weta Workshop. It was really awesome.
You know, he also tells me that there's a lot of. It seems like there's a lot of talent out there too. Like he's was messing with being he was an extra actually in, I believe, The Wolf on Wall Street, and he was telling me about the Peter Jackson thing. And there was also another director who did the latest Thor movie.
Yes.
And they all came from New Zealand. There, I was like, wow, it's like another hub sort of for creativity.
Yeah.
I think, is it cheap? Must be cheap to film over there, or there's a reason why. It's like Ash versus Evil Dead, the TV show that's filmed over in New Zealand, I believe.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't Hercules filmed over there too?
I think so, and
The
Xena.
old show. Yeah, and Xena.
Wow. Oh wait, the old shows.
Yeah, the 90s.
Oh wow.
Hercules.
That's
Kevin
crazy.
Sorbo.
Yeah, those. To be honest with you, Xena. I used to love Xena. Besides the whole, the character, it was just a great, it put you into that kind of thing. I know it wasn't that, it wasn't like all great effects and everything, but it was just good enough, for a TV show. It was just
Right. And it was the 90s.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you mentioned the director of the latest Thor, Taika Waititi, I think his name is. He also directed What We Do in the Shadows, which, if you haven't seen it, is an amazing
so funny
vampire comedy movie.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
So funny.
But it's just amazing, like, to go from that, and then he directed a Marvel movie, Thor.
Yeah. I heard it was pretty good too. I heard it was like, well, obviously it was great. Marvel, everything they're putting out now is like freaking gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. I think it was the best Thor movie.
Let's see. And then I think the new one is coming out with all of them together.
Right, Infinity War.
Yeah. Oh man. So this agent that you just met, have you sent your work to her yet, or like has she suggested any edits? You've been going back and forth or anything like that?
Yeah, she read the manuscript, the whole thing, and we did some edits over the phone. I'm in California, she's in Georgia, so had to be over the phone. But yeah, she read the whole novel.
Yeah,
and she loved it.
So would you say you prefer to go the conventional route, or do you prefer to go like the indie, quote unquote indie route, independent?
I definitely wanted to try traditional first.
Yeah.
I did self-publish Dreams of Decay, but I do for these novels, I did want to try traditional publishing.
Yeah, I've heard that going the the traditional, if you start off with the the indie way, the self-publishing way, that they said that it's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. But I think that's kind of changing now, because a lot of people can get noticed that way, or you just have your stuff out. Sometimes it's just a good way to jump into the water, get yourself all get out all the toxins I guess you could say from your pores, if you want to say, before the real stuff comes out, and that you send off to the traditional publishers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could be. Things are definitely changing. Not that I'm any expert on the industry, but
neither are we.
No, I was gonna say. So where did your love of like Lovecraftian sort of horror come from?
To be honest, I do not remember when I first started reading Lovecraft. It's been a while, but I just remember the first time I read it. I like fell in love with the writing and his work. And I have I have several versions of his complete fiction books.
Yeah.
And I've read them. I've read all his fiction like several times over. And not just his complete fiction books, but like his ghostwriting fiction and his collab fiction books.
Wow.
So yeah, he's my favorite author.
Yeah.
But for my novels, I'm kind of, Corruption in the Deep was my first published work, and which was very Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
And that was that like 3 or 4 years ago now? 2015. So yeah, 3 years. I've been obviously evolving and just trying to find my own voice. So I still use some Lovecraftian language here and there, but I am trying to, do my own style. And with these novels, it's definitely my voice.
So how did you move from writing short stories to sort of moving into writing longer works? I mean, the background to the question, I suppose, is I have always felt that I need to improve my short game before I move on to my long game. And I've always had that since I started writing. That was in the back of my mind. Try and perfect a short story. Try and get a semi-pro or a pro sale under my belt with short stories, and then think about maybe writing a novella, and then think about maybe moving on to a novel or what have you. So how did you move? How was the integration from sort of writing short prose to then moving on to doing the novel, and what challenges did you face sort of moving sort of that way?
For the novel, the first, so I have 4 novels in the works at the moment. Well, I guess 3 in the works. The first one is done because it's with the agent now. But the first one, the main character, she is a fantasy novel. She's a necromancer. I've had an idea for her for many years, but I've never felt I was ready to write the novel. And then I started writing the short stories, and I got some things published, and I thought maybe I can try writing this. And I just did the first draft. There were lots of obstacles. It was difficult, and I actually had to step away from the book for a couple months, and then came back to writing it. But I don't think you have to start with short fiction to start writing longer fiction, because a lot of people think that short stories are a step, like novels are a step above short stories. They're both equally difficult to write.
Yeah.
But once I had a lot of ideas for short stories, so I got those out and they got published, and then I felt confident enough to start writing the novel.
Yeah.
And then my wife actually is my editor, so while she was editing that, I started working on the second novel, just because I'm gonna be writing something. So she had that, so I was writing the second one.
Yeah.
And it came more easily, the second novel. And then
So
the agent said she liked the first novel, and so that was some validation to start working on.
Yeah. So how do you approach writing a novel? How does it differ from the short story? Obviously, there's the length factor, but in your mindset, how do you go about? Do you plot it out? Do you go by the seat of your pants? Do you have a rough idea where it's going? How do you sort of sit down and plan for the long game?
With the short stories, I have no plan whatsoever. I just have maybe a vague idea, maybe even just a title.
Yeah.
Like, this title sounds cool. How can I make a story out of it? With the novels, it's a similar approach. I don't really plan things out. I have an idea. Maybe I have some scenes that I definitely want to put in there, and then I usually have an ending of maybe a vague idea of what the ending will be. But I just like to let things flow by themselves.
Yeah.
Like on social media, like on Twitter and stuff, I see pictures of like people and their big cork boards and like sticky notes and like huge sections of like plotting and what's going to happen and like lines drawn from wherever. I don't do any of that. I just want things to go where they need to go.
Yeah.
Which if the big plotting board works for you, then do that.
Yeah. I think like J.K. Rowling, she sort of needed to do that because she had the whole, 7-book series that she needed. So she needed the subplots and then that whole overarching plot to be. I guess she sort of needed that. But then Stephen King didn't really do that with the Dark Tower series. So.
Right.
I think it depends on the genre sometimes a little bit as well. I mean, when you got like a crime thriller, I think you have to sort of plan it out. Although, all the sort of intricate plot changes and things like that. I suppose you need to. I mean, I'm the same as you. I when I'm writing a short story, I don't really plan it too much. I might have just a vague idea or an ending in my head, or like say a title, but occasionally I will plan a little bit. And I'm working on a story at the moment. I'm about 4,000 words into it. I imagine it's probably going to get to about 6,000 or 7,000 words by the time it's done, and then get edited down to about 5.5. But I planned that a little bit. I've spoken to Will about it a little bit. Throw a few ideas sort of in his direction and see what happens. And I suppose it's horses for courses. I suppose it's sometimes you do need to plan ahead, and other times you just sort of. Your character takes you there by itself, the story just takes you where it needs to take you, I think.
Right.
So, yeah, that's the way it works for me anyway.
Yeah, I'm very big into letting the characters find their own way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you got to make it sound real. Like, this is, it's got to be like, the whole, I mean, I guess, I don't know if everybody's trying to aim for this, but you want them to be like they say that it's to bring him up because everybody knows him. Stephen King's characters, they have very human-like essence with them. When you read them, you feel like they're real people you're reading about, and you want that to be. I guess you want that in your stories.
Right.
So what kind of TV shows or have you been watching lately?
Lately I've been watching Jessica Jones. Trying to finish that up.
Jessica Jones. Now what's that about?
It's one of the Marvel shows on Netflix.
That's right. That's right. I remember
along with Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, and then Jessica Jones. I'm finishing up the second season.
All right. You watch Walking Dead?
I have not watched it in a couple of years. It's kind of, it's not as
No, I know exactly what you mean. They said that they also lost a lot of viewers too. I mean, it deviates a little from the comic here and there, and then they've done a couple things that people don't agree with. It's pretty good. The last one ended, I'm not going to say anything, but it ended on a more positive note, I guess you could say. But you can see that they already they threw some things in there that things are going to get shaken up again. Like, nothing really, I guess with horror, you really can't have that safe thing. You got to have that kind of, tension around the corner.
Yeah. On a completely sort of unrelated note, do either of you guys watch Rick and Morty?
Yes.
I've started watching it. My friend's been recommending it for ages, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm really enjoying it. Have you ever seen Rick and Morty, Will?
No, I haven't caught it yet. I know you've mentioned it a lot on the Twitter.
Yeah, it's really funny.
It's hilarious.
Are you right up to date with it, Alessandro? Have you done it? Are you still got some episodes to watch?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
I just said, are you up to date with it? Are you,
I think so.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I'm up to series 2 or something. I don't know how many series there are, but
I think
I'm
just
really.
3 at the moment.
Is there? I'm really late to the party, but I'm enjoying it. And you watch Ash versus Evil Dead as well, don't you?
I do. I've not watched the 3rd season yet. I like to wait and then binge on it.
Yeah, it's,
but I'm really upset about the news.
Don't talk about it. Don't.
Wait, what's the news?
They're not renewing it for a full series.
What?
Yeah.
I thought they had like such a big base. It was like a cult, favorite.
They've got a lot of people watching, but
is,
I think, I just think it's a stars thing. I think not a lot of people have stars. Because I think a lot of people are watching it, binging it on Amazon, and I don't know if it pops up on Netflix as well, but over here in England we don't get stars, obviously, so I usually watch a stream of it or watch it on Amazon or something. And because of that, the ratings don't go directly back to the show. And as a result, there's only like something, I think it was like 150,000 or something on average watching the last series of it per episode, which is like nothing really in terms of TV viewing. But I can honestly say it's one of the best TV shows I think I've watched. It's just so funny, and it's just
that's crazy. They really should figure out a way to get all these streaming things to get like the ratings from them too.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was going to sort of end, but I was saying to Will, I went to see Bruce Campbell about a month or so ago. And he did a bit of a reading, and then he did a book signing for his new book. And in the Q&A, he was like, someone said, what's happening with Ash versus Evil Dead, and he's like, you could tell he was like, I don't think it's going to continue.
Damn.
So I was like, oh my god, really? And I was like, on a proper downer about it.
It'll probably go down like his movies, like they didn't really do big, and then they just
at the time. Yeah.
And then
have you met Bruce, Alessandro? Sorry, Will.
Sorry.
What's that?
Have you met Bruce?
I did.
Oh, he's awesome, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Bruce. I met him. He did this thing called Last Fan Standing.
Yes,
which was sort of a game show that he hosts. It goes around the country. I don't know if it goes to other countries. Does it go over there?
It didn't. No, it was just a book tour when he came over. I don't think I think it was his first appearance in Britain for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that was pretty fun. It was a audience participation game show. Then afterward, he signed his new book, and you could bring whatever for him to sign, And I brought my wife was with me, so we got 2 things signed. I got my Blu-ray steel case Evil Dead signed, and then I have 2 rocks from Evil Dead.
Yeah.
2 set from Linda's Grave, so I had him sign one of those.
Nice. I've got a piece of the cabin as well. I think I spoke to you about it, actually.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, I've got a piece of the cabin and a little tiny, almost sort of like a thumbnail size bit of coal from the grave. But I'm a mega. I love Evil Dead. Evil Dead's my bag. Really is.
Come on, Netflix, just pick up the show.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'd love that.
That would be nice.
Or Amazon or whoever.
Just pick it up, carry it on, But I used to read the Army of Darkness comic books. I collected them for ages, and then when my first daughter was born, I cancelled them just to save a little bit of money. But I found with the comic books, it got there's just loads of them, man. There's like Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. There's Ash versus Reanimator. Ash saves President Obama. And the latest one, I've actually got the latest one. I bought it just because I saw it in the comic book shop. What is Ash versus Kiss? So, the band Kiss. So it's bizarre. But yeah, there's like loads of them. But what I found with the comics, so not to
I have some of the Army of Darkness ones, and Ash versus Hack Slash. stuff like
Yes, yeah, I've got them too. But I found that it was a little bit repetitive because I think Ash is a kind of one-dimensional character, I want to say, but not being unkind. Which makes him funny, but I think you've got to maybe the characters around him have got to make it a little bit more interesting, so he's got something to play off. And I found that with the comic books, it got a little bit boring. I mean, I remember reading one where it was basically Ash in Alice in Wonderland. So he goes into this world, and there's the caterpillar there, and he's like getting his boomstick out for the caterpillar, and he's there's only so many times you can sort of say, give me some sugar, baby, and you think it's just repetitive, and I kind of, I don't know. It's a set piece show, I think, Ash versus Evil Dead. There's lots of really cool little set pieces. I always find myself saying to friends and stuff, did you see the bit in the mortuary? Did you see the bit? There's one in the new series in a sperm bank. I don't want to go into it because you've not seen it, but it's just so hilarious. It's ridiculous. I kind of hope the show doesn't go that way. If it did carry on with another vendor, I just hope it doesn't turn into this just repetitive set piece, one-dimensional thing.
Yeah.
We have a question from one of the chat room. Sorry, Dustin.
Nice.
Dustin in our group. He says, "What are you reading currently?" And what are your hobbies outside of writing?
Hobbies. I play a lot of video games. I read a lot, and watch a lot of Netflix. So standard things, I guess. I'm currently reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh no! Wait a second. That is Mur Lafferty, right?
Douglas Adams.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking totally different. It was similar. Okay, you're right. Sorry, sorry about that.
Hey, I'm not him, so.
What was I going to say? Yeah, so you said video games. Like, I know there's a lot of horror video games out and coming out right now. Which ones have you, what do you play?
I play a lot of horror video games. Anything horror I can get my hands on. I don't know if you heard of Agony that's coming out. It looks really good.
No, what console's that on?
I think it's on PC and Xbox and PlayStation. I think you're like a soul in hell trying to escape. But the trailers look super dark and creepy.
It's like a side scroller.
No, it's first person.
Okay.
But yeah, check out it's called Agony.
Agony.
Check out the. Let's see, what games have I been playing lately?
What do you think about that new one? What's the guy from Walking Dead? I forgot the name of the same guy who pretty much created and directed the Metal Gear Solid series.
Death Stranding.
Yes. Yeah.
That one looks pretty interesting.
And that's like very Lovecraftian, right? It's like they got that big thing that's like standing over everybody with all the tentacles coming out of it, and
yeah, the trailers definitely look. I mean, I have no idea what's going on, but
yeah, exactly. It's like at some point there's like a baby in his.
That's his style. So
yeah, he's very strange, but it's cool though. It's a really good strange. But yeah, and it looks, all these video games now, they look ultra realistic. It's like playing a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also like Darkest Dungeon, don't you? Which is a bit more sort of stylized, isn't it?
Darkest Dungeon's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a huge. I backed it. Say again.
Just the narrator, his voice is.
Yes. I backed that on Kickstarter. I've got it on my laptop and I just play it every so often. But I am tempted to get it again on. I've got a Switch, so I'm tempted just.
It's out for that already?
Yeah, I think so. I'll just double check now, but Switch. One moment, just have a quick look. But yeah, it's a really good game. the style of it, like I said, the narrator is really, really good. His dungeon. How did you discover that? Did you see it on Kickstarter or?
No, not. How did I? I was probably just Googling games to like games to new horror games to play.
Yeah,
so I'm always on the lookout for stuff. There's a lot of good indie sort of horror games out there, like Outlast. Have you guys played those?
I just got the whole collection on the PS4. I had like I do the GameFly, which I don't know why anymore because I don't even play. But I got the GameFly. They give me like coupons, so I wait until I get the 5, and then I wait for the next 5. I used the 10, and Outlast was like $13, but it was for like every single Outlast game. So I was like, I just had to pay like $3 for it.
Yeah.
What's Outlast about?
In the first game, you are some reporter, journalist, something like that, and you're exploring this mental asylum, trying to find out why, if I remember correctly, just like what happened there. And you have no weapons. You only have your camera, and a lot of the game is there's lighted areas, but a lot of the game is in the dark, so you have to use your night vision on the camera. And so you have no weapons. You just have to hide and run from the insane and sometimes mutated inmates.
Yeah, it's very like the tension is really up. I haven't played it, but I've seen a lot of people streaming it.
Yeah, it's really good. The second one is, I think I liked it more actually. It's similar. It's same gameplay. You only have your camera. It's a different character though. You're going out and you're in a helicopter which crashes, and you're in the middle of like redneck country, and there's this cult, and they're trying to summon something. And so I kind of like that one better. I think it was a little scarier than the first one.
Cool. Like, did you play the Resident Evil games?
I have. I'm actually replaying them right now. I just replayed 4 and 5.
Yeah, 4 is the best.
4 is really good. I love 4. And I liked, to be fair, I like 3. I think 3 is very good as well. But in terms of that, the old school ones. But what's the new? I've not played the latest one. What's the latest one like? Is it 7?
7 is, it went back, so 4, 5, and 6 were the third person shooting action ones.
Yeah.
7 went back to the more scary, you have to conserve your ammo, but it's first person, but it's really good.
Like the house.
I played it like 3 or 4 times already since it came out.
You know, they have that in virtual they have that virtual reality goggles for that too, man. It's like that's probably even crazier.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, the VR, the whole system.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved 4, 5, and 6, but they weren't scary like the previous ones were.
Yeah.
But the newest one is pretty scary.
Man, I'm missing out with that having the Switch. I don't think it's on the Switch 7 at all, but maybe one day they'll port it over. I don't know.
Yeah, they got a lot of games coming like for the Switch. The only thing difference that's going to be from the PS4 and the Xbox is that it's going to be slightly scaled down, but the Switch is actually a really powerful system. That, from what I've seen, it's a little more powerful than the PS3. So it's, I mean, I guess you can't really. It's a portable system. So what they've done with it is pretty cool, in terms of power and stuff. But quick question. So I also have. Let me see. I had a final one from Dustin, and I have one from Kevin Frost. Dustin asks, "What is your Star Wars What is your Star Wars film, fan film about?"
Star Wars
fan fiction.
Yeah.
Fan fiction.
Oh, fan fiction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fan fiction.
Oh, it's what is this? What was it, like that was like 13 years ago. It was a story about. I really don't. I remember the character. I don't remember his name or actually the story or anything. The character was a Zabrak, which is the species Darth Maul is.
Oh, okay.
And that's all I can tell you because I have no idea.
So you created the character and everything?
Yeah, I created the character.
Nice.
I actually, like last year or something, I tried looking for the website. I don't think it's up anymore. It was some Star Wars, like Dark Jedi website. Yeah. I wish I could tell you more, but I have no recollection.
Yeah. So Kevin Frost asks, if you had to do all of this again, what would you do differently?
In terms of like the writing career?
Yeah, like the whole horror writing career and the steps you've taken to get there.
At this point, I probably wouldn't change anything.
Nice.
I'm moving forward, trying to get my first novel published. So I've reached this point. Maybe when I'm older and hopefully successful, maybe I can answer that question better.
Yeah, but by that time, Alessandro, you're not going to want to know us. You're going to be like, who's Gary Buller? When you're schmoozing with Stephen King and knocking around with in the big leagues, you're going to forget this podcast. In fact, we'll probably have an injunction or something, and we'll probably won't be able to take it down or something.
If I'm up there, I'm sure you guys will be up there with me.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. On that note, guys, I'm going to have to sort of zoom off in a moment.
Yeah. I was just going to...
That's cool.
Tie it up here.
Nice.
Anything else that you're got out there that you want to plug right now, or?
If you haven't checked out Dreams of Decay, I would appreciate that. If you're into sort of like Tim Burton-esque whimsical horror poetry type stuff,
yeah,
I would check out that, and then hopefully once a publisher wants my novel, we'll definitely be talking about that a lot.
Yes. If you want to come back on and talk about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
That'd be nice. If he's not too busy with all the big names, working with the networks and that.
Yeah. I'm going to get big myself. I might go to Texas and buy myself a used car dealership, maybe poke a cigar into my hole and look like a big man with my chest poked out. All right. Sorry about that. For anybody else, if you would like to come on, talk about horror, or if you have anything to sell, you want to push something, or a new book coming out, please contact either me or Gary. We'll make it happen. And please give a thumbs up in the comments on what you'd like to hear. Also subscribe if you can. They got this new thing about something with a bell in YouTube now. I don't know. I thought just subscribing was enough, but now you got to hit a bell to get like extra views or something. I don't know. So if you think it's cool, just hit it. We want to hear more crazy stuff coming up, and
yeah. And also, obviously, thanks to Alessandro for coming on and stuff, and
Thank you for having me.
No, it's been a pleasure, man. It's always really good to communicate with you. You're a good guy, and I hope the book's a success.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So anyone can follow me on Twitter at the Morta Sheen. I'm on Facebook, and I have my own website, salessandromartinez.com.
Hey. Quick question: who is Tom? Kevin Frost asked, "Who is Tom Bandabill?" Does that?
I'm not sure.
No. Okay.
Just a random question.
Sorry. So you said your website?
Oh yeah, just salessandromartinez.com. I'm on Twitter the most, I guess. So I know I'm always open to chatting or answering questions or whatever.
Thanks very much, mate. It's been good.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm going to shoot off, boys. I'm gonna see you later.
I'll stop it right now too.
Yeah.
Okay, so great show, and we'll all talk next time.
All right.
See you guys. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye. All right.